So in the first half, we talked about what the candidates didn't do that they should have done. Right. What did the candidates do that worked?
Okay, so my first standout moment for Hillary was this kind of analogy, maybe, I don't even know what you would call it, but it was the speech where she went through, we're talking about fitness to be president.
Oh, the rigged speech?
No, that was great. You can talk about that, because you talked about that before. I saw that. I posted on Facebook. Anyway.
When did I talk about that?
You did like a Facebook Live.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway.
I don't even remember what's happened. I don't remember what happened.
Anyway, so what I loved was when Hillary outlined by the decade what she was doing and what Donald Trump was doing. I thought that was, like, that made him look like such a chump, so inexperienced. You know, she would go back and say, well, I was sitting in the Situation Room watching to see if our troops would be able to kill Osama bin Laden. He was taping The Celebrity Apprentice. Like, oh my God. Like, that makes him look so stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I really feel like, I mean, he makes this, I think the one claim that Hillary Clinton has left unanswered is like how great he's going to be for the African American community and how he's a law and order candidate. And I really feel as though Hillary, and maybe it's just me, and maybe whatever the reason, but I really feel as though like she needs to drill down on the Central Park Five, because the Central Park Five is the character and the essence of who Donald Trump is as a person. So these five gentlemen who did nothing. They did nothing. They were, I would argue, they were victims of police brutality. They were victims of harsh interrogations, cruel and unusual punishment, and they were found guilty of raping a woman that they did not rape. Donald Trump basically went after them, including putting out full-page ads in New York Times and holding rallies to get them all arrested. The city of New York exonerated these gentlemen and paid them a ton of money for wrongful prosecution. And Donald Trump was asked a couple weeks ago, does he still think that they're guilty? And he's like, yup, they said they were guilty, so they're guilty. Like, so, that is a clarion example of who Donald Trump is as a person.
Here's my thing with the Central Park Five. And I think it's a great sticking point. I think it's powerful if you can get the story out. My problem with that in a debate setting is it's too long and it's too complicated.
I did it in 30 seconds.
Listen, our audience is very smart. They're capable of understanding.
I'm a good messenger, that's what it is.
You know, more than just a soundbite. And the Central Park Five case is a bit complicated, right? I mean, you can simplify it, but the fact of the matter is, it's been the fact of multiple documentaries, perhaps hundreds of books, and it's an important case, but it is nuanced.
That's right? Okay, fair. I'm off my high horse on that one.
Anyway,
but what
else did Hillary do? Talk about the.
So there was a moment in the debate where the one moment where Donald Trump lost it. For some reason, in the first debate and in this debate, he does really good in the first 20 minutes, and then maybe his feet hurt or whatever it is, but he becomes unhinged. And there was a moment where he was like, where Chris Wallace, rightfully so, said, "Do you believe the election's rigged?" And then he went on and said, "The media's rigged. There's all these dead people voting." Now let me address this dead people.
He also said that there were millions of people illegally voting.
Right, which is not true, according to the Brennan, the Brennan Center out of NYU.
What is it, like 35 credible cases of voter fraud?
You're more likely to get struck by lightning twice than commit voter fraud. But beyond that, he talks about these dead people on the voting rolls. So let me explain this to you. I mean, because we believe in informing people. So, right, I had two grandparents. Both were U.S. citizens when they died, right? When my grandfather died, I didn't call the Board of Elections and be like, hello, I want to let you know that my grandfather died, and thus he's no longer on the voting rolls. People die every day. And the system is slow because what the voting roll people have to do is they have to go to get the morgue records and bounce the morgue records off against the voting rolls, and that takes time. So yes, there are dead people on the voting rolls. That is a reality because somebody could have died on the 7th of November. Like, you think the family's gonna call on the 8th and be like, hi? Like, they're dealing with a whole bunch of other crap than taking somebody off the voting rolls. It does not mean because they're on the voting rolls, they're actually voting.
Right.
Because they can't vote. And in a lot of states, because of voter suppression laws like IDs and you have to bring all this crap to the polls with you, if they're dead, how are they going to bring an ID to the polls?
Right. No one is saying oh, grandma died, let's go vote with her ID.
Right. And there's an other point, and I'm going to get to this rig thing in a minute, is illegal immigrants. Illegal immigrants are not voting. And I'll tell you why.
The last thing they would want to do.
I used to work in public education. I did. I mean, no, I'm being very honest with you. In my last iteration, I worked in public education in the city. And what we'd find on the days where we would go into count, where you have to go in to count the number of students that are in the classroom, what you would actually find is kids who parents were illegal, or they were illegal or undocumented. You would see them run out the classrooms. They wouldn't come to school that day because they were afraid of being counted, because they thought being counted means they would eventually get deported. Right? And so tell me if this makes any sense. I know that ICE is looking for me. We know that Obama's deported more people than any other president in recent history. So I'm going to tell ICE where I'm going to be, on what day I'm going to be there, so they can find me and deport me. That makes that's counterintuitive.
I agree completely. And listen, Donald Trump's, this whole voter fraud thing, like at its core, just shows a disturbing lack of faith in the American people as a whole, right?
Exactly. And I mean, you also have to assume in Donald Trump's theory of voter fraud. Take a state like Florida, right? Florida has 67 counties. Each county runs their own election. So you're saying 67 people, some Republican, some Democrat, some all nonpartisan. They run nonpartisan, but some lean Republican, some lean Democrat. And the Secretary of State, who is a Republican, and Donald Trump's friend, who he gave money to through Trump University and Trump Foundation, Pam Bondi, they're all going to work in cahoots
to defraud
the election.
And make it lean Democrat.
And make it lean Democrat. And then you have to also assume that not only those people, but then you go down one tier lower. The people who run the precincts, like the old lady who checks your ID, she's in on it too. The fix is in all the way. The guy who helps you get to your little booth,
walk you to your booth.
All of them are in. According to Donald Trump, all these people are in on fraudulently destroying the election for Hillary Clinton. So this gets to Hillary Clinton's famous line where she says, "Rigged, Donald. Every time you think things are rigged, when the Republicans, when you lost Iowa, you thought it was rigged. When you lost Michigan, you thought it was rigged. When you lost Wisconsin, you thought it was rigged. Then you thought that the convention was rigged. Then you thought, this election's rigged. You even thought the Emmys, and this is tweetable. He said you even thought the Emmys were rigged when you didn't win an Emmy." And what made it crazy, for me, the moment that solidified that Donald Trump is a third grader living in an adult's body, he's like, we should have, after she takes him down, a complete takedown, he goes, well, we really should have won that Emmy. You have to watch a video, but you've never seen this?
What?
You didn't see this part of the debate?
The rig? No, I saw the debate.
Where he goes, we really should have won that Emmy.
I mean, it's amazing.
We should have won the Emmy.
All right, well, I think that's a good way to end this segment.
It is. We should have won the Emmy. The Fowler Show, we should win an Emmy.
That's right, a YouTube Emmy.
A Webby.